Hey friends, how are you? Hope you're well and you've had a really nice Easter. Mine was good. Spent the time watching rugby, which was really nice, and reading, so that was good. I'm here today to do my March wrap up, which will include March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March. So in total, I read 11 books. Well, actually 13, but 2 are DNFs. But I did sort of count the pages that I had read of those books. So in total, 11 full books and 2 DNFs, which I think was actually not bad for the month, which in total was 3,752 pages, which I think is dash good going, I have to say. With it, as I say, I did 2 read-alongs, readathons this month. I did March Mystery Madness and I did Middle Grade March. I did two buddy reads, and I'll talk about them as I go through. I have my little book here so that I can keep a track of what I am wanting to talk to you about. So let's start with March Mystery Madness. For those, I read quite a few actually. I think the majority actually of my books this month were for March Mystery Madness. So I had on my Kindle, I'll go through my Kindle ones first. So the first one was Misspelt by Morgana Best. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I think I did quite enjoy it. I have to say, I don't remember much about it. Oh, I do. I tell a lie. I know, now that my brain has sort of kicked into gear. This was about a lady who moved to a new town and inherited this house from a relative. I think it was her grandmother. But what she doesn't realise was that her grandmother was a witch. And this house has fun properties in that if it doesn't like anybody, it will actually kick that person out the house, which is really, really fun. There's a gentleman who is not very nice and he ends up being murdered. And this is basically a cozy mystery. It's how our lady, who is also as part of her inheritance, has inherited this bakery, but this lady can't cook. I mean, she burns everything, including water. So it was like her trying to come to terms with how the heck she's going to run this bakery, how she's going to make her grandmother or her aunt's favourite, cakes, etc., etc. Plus, there's obviously this person that's been murdered. In her bakery, she ends up becoming obviously an amateur sleuth with the help of the friends that her relative, I honestly can't remember if it was a grandmother or her aunt, honestly, sorry. But these friends help her out. It was a fun read. I wouldn't say it was like, wow, brilliant, fantastic. I enjoyed it, and that was it. The next book I read was Without Mercy by Jack Higgins. I gave this one 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this. This was set in Ireland. It was set in London, to do with Russian infiltration, and Russian infiltration also into the IRA. And it was a page turner. It just kept me going and going and going. I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't really want to spoil the book, but there's the back of it so you can read what it's about. But yeah, I did enjoy this one. The next book I read was The Guilty Party by Susan Harper. Again, it was an e-book. This is another cozy mystery. I really liked this one. This was the sequel to the one before, which I think was called Books and Brews. And we meet the 2 young witches again, one who runs the bookshop in Wisteria, one who runs the bookshop in, shall we say, non-magic lands. But they back onto each other and they have a door that goes through. And the 2 girls are invited to their Uncle Drac's party. Unfortunately, at some point, somebody does become murdered, and their Uncle Drax is Sorry about that. We were expecting an Asda delivery and it's just arrived, so I just wanted to help Mum and Dad get everything in and put away. So we've done that, so that's good. We have food now. we didn't have food, but we did have some food, so we needed stuff, so that's good. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, The Guilty Party by Susan Harper. As I say, they go to Uncle Drac's party, somebody dies, and the two girls end up trying to work out who murdered the person, how they're going to save their Uncle Drax. What was really interesting is that one of the girl that helps the sister in the non-magic land can actually go through the transmitting door. So she obviously has some form of magic, but she isn't aware of it, etc. So there's the quirkiness of that. It is a very fun read. Great series, would recommend it. So yeah, that was that one. Then my first buddy read. This was my foray into middle grade March. So I read The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. I read this one with Beth from Soul Stained Ink. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I found it very slow in the middle. It really was I found it slow. The last sort of 60 pages really speeded up, and I really enjoyed those last 60 pages. The beginning was really interesting. As I say, middle part was a bit and then the last 60 pages just flew. It was really, really interesting from there. So the premise is four students go for these tests, and the tests are a bit peculiar, and the 4 of them end up being chosen, and they end up having to they're trained in a few aspects, and then they're sent to this school because there's something really strange going on, and they're basically spies, and they have to try and work out what is going on, and they have to send messages back to the adults, trying to sort of tell them what's happening. It was a fun read, and I did quite enjoy it. It's the start of a series. Will I continue with the series? I'm not too sure. I'm actually going to pass this one on to my niece and to see if she likes it. So yeah, but yes, no, it was a fun read, and I really enjoyed reading it with Beth. It was nice to chat about it. So that was that one. So that was my foray into middle grade March. I then did another buddy read. Oh my Lanta. I read Secrets of Eden by Chris Bojalian. I read this as a buddy read with Rebecca from the Colourful Book Nester. It's got a 5 out of 5. This absolutely was fantastic. Premise of this book is told from 4 viewpoints. You are constantly wondering why the situation happened that happened. I'm going to let you read the back. So, we do wonder what happens to Alice and who did the deed. Well, we reckon we know who did the deed to her, but who did the deed to her husband? And as I say, it's told from 4 different viewpoints. You get the minister's viewpoint, you get the daughter's viewpoint, you get the detective's viewpoint, and you get this lady called Heather's viewpoint as well. It is a page turner. I mean, Rebecca and I we'd scheduled out how much we were going to read, and we actually ended up not scrapping the schedule, but we extended the amount of pages we're reading in the time because it was just so good. I'm not going to say very much more about this because honestly, I think you just need to go and read it for yourself. What I am going to give you though is a trigger warning. There is violent domestic abuse in this book. So please be warned on that. Does it detract from the book? Not for me. But some people might find it very uncomfortable to read. And that's absolutely fine. I would hate for someone to pick this up on my recommendation, not knowing that. and then something happening. So just please be warned that there is domestic abuse in this, and it's not covered up. But for me, it did not detract from the series. There's some bits of it I was like, oh, it's like, okay, I've read that, I'll just forget that bit. But on the whole, the story in this is just so well written, and you are seriously guessing until the last 6 pages. Rebecca and I were sort of chatting to each other on Voxer, and I'm going, I think it could be this person. What about this person? Why is this being said? What is that? What does this have to do with it? It is such a page turner, and this isn't going to be... It was my first Crisp Jelly, and I've already ordered another one because I just found it so good. My next book was on my Kindle, and it was called An Unexpected Amish Proposal by Rachel J. Good. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. This is a really nice Amish story. It's to do with a girl who runs the family bakery stall at a food market. And the person that owns the food market basically hikes their rent up so they can't afford it. But it's not just her, it's another 4 stalls as well. And they're up in arms. It's like, what can we do? We can't do anything. But one of the other gentlemen that is in the market, Gideon, he pays the rent for these 4 stalls for the next 3 months so that they've got breathing space, but they don't know it's him. And he then offers the Amish girl, I'm afraid I can't remember her name, the chance to sell her bakery cookware on his stall, which is a chicken stall. He runs like barbecue chicken stall. And he's wanting to expand it anyway to do sort of like lunches, so he thinks the bakery goods would be a great sort of add-on to his stall. He also gives space in the stall to the man who owns the candy store. So you've all these different stories happening within the one story. The Amish girl and Gideon, they like each other, but Gideon's like, I'm not ready for a relationship, don't want a relationship. He's got a backstory going on there. She is very unsure as to why he keeps... She thinks, does he fancy me, does he not fancy me, etc, etc. The gentleman with the candy stall, he's got problems with his son. And so all the stories are mixed together. It was a really nice read, good read. Kept me turning the pages because I wanted to find out what was happening. And there was a bit of mystery in it, in that there was like, who's doing some vandalism, why is that happening, etc. So, yeah, a fun read. The next one I read was my first foray into Harlequin romantic suspense, which is Exposing Colton's Secrets by Marie Ferrarella. I enjoyed this. What did I give this one? I gave this one 3.5 out of 5. I shall let you see the back of it. I did enjoy this one. I liked the fact that Gwen was an elementary teacher. I liked Brooks as the private investigator. What is interesting is it doesn't, you've got no, shall we say, major conclusion. I think there's carry on. So I think I need to read the next in the series. I don't know how many are in the series to find out exactly what goes on. But they do find out, what happened to Gwen's mum and to the private investigator that she hired that her grandmother hired to find her mum. And I did enjoy it. It was a nice read into something that I've never read before, and I think I will read it again, or not read. I'll carry on with the series, sorry, because I did enjoy it. I then read, or tried to read, The House Between the Tides. I got as far as page 140, and I'm afraid I just DNF'd it. It was so slow. I've read One Sarah Main before and thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was really looking forward to this, and I have to say I was just so disappointed that it wasn't that it wasn't to my taste. My dad has read it, he quite liked it, but again he said it was very slow, very ponderous, so I just couldn't get into it. It's on the bookshelves down in the middle landing. Will I pick it up again to try? I don't know. But yeah, that was my first DNF. I then read on my Kindle The Lending Library by Elisa Fogelson. I gave it 4 out of 5. Beautiful story about this lady who is an art teacher, and her local library is closing for renovations, and she realises that a lot of people in the town will not be able to go to the next town over, which is I think about 20 odd miles away, to get their books. So she decides to start a lending library in the sunroom of her house. And it's the story of how she sets this up, about some of the people that come to the lending library, what it means for them. There's also a side story of, although it's a side story, it's quite a prominent side story of the fact that the lady would love a baby, and how that affects not only her life but the life of other people within the story, and how she has to work her way through this. It is very poignant, and it was just very lovely, well written, and I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it. Next book was Daughter on His Doorstep by Teresa Southwick. This was a fun book, and another 4 out of 5. That's what it's about. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I liked the premise of the fact that Shelby hadn't told Luke she was pregnant. Why didn't she tell him that she was pregnant? That comes out. I liked their daughter Emma, great kid, really ballsy in some ways, and it will not take, any yuck from anybody. So I really liked this story. This story was about two people, Luke and Shelby, who have to come to terms with the fact that she kept Emma a secret from him for good reasons. And also the fact there's also growth from both those characters. There's also acceptance by Shelby's mother. She has to accept things that she did. So I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend, if you're looking for a really sweet read, Harlequin special editions you can't go wrong with. They are just so nice, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of made a nice break from all the sort of the mysteries, etc. I then started Blue Jeans and Coffee Beans by Joanne DeMaio, and I was so looking forward to this. I read 120 pages and DNF'd it, and I was absolutely gutted. I love Joanne DeMaio's writing. You know that I love her winter series, so I thought Seaside series, great. There were too many characters for me, all with too many backstories and too many problems. It was just crowded. And there's one character in particular that I really didn't like, and for she spoilt it for me. Will I go back and try it again? I don't think so. I think this is my second time at trying it, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to say that Joanne DeMaio's Seaside series is not going to be for me, and I'm sad about that. But you can't love them all, so that's the way I'm looking at it. I then read on my Kindle an e-arc copy of Murder in the Cookbook Nook by Ellery Adams. I gave this 4.5 out of 5. I'm not going to say very much about it because I'm actually going to be doing a review of this book. But if I say beautiful house, so a bit of, either say Great British Bake Off, MasterChef thrown in, a murder. Good, cosy read. And then I read Investigation in Black Canyon by Cindy Meyer, which was my first Harlequin intrigue. Really enjoyed this, gave this a 4 out of 5. Like the premise. Really enjoyed both characters. I thought Cara and Jason were really good. It was a page turner. I just kept flipping through it, because I wanted to know what happens. If you wonder why the bookmark is in, don't tell anyone, but my dad's reading it. Yeah. He's sort of like, oh, don't do my street cred any good. But he's enjoying it. And what we've had to do is we've actually had to go and buy the next 3. I've only got 2 of them so far. I'm waiting on the next one. But yeah, we've had to go and buy the rest of the series because we want to know what happens. So basically, Cara's boss goes missing. He says he's going for a hike in Black Canyon, but doesn't come back. Now for him, this is very, very unusual. She's been realising over the past couple of weeks he's not been his usual self. Things have been sort of bugging him, but he wasn't saying anything because that wasn't the kind of relationship they had. She goes to the police won't do anything, so she goes to the ranger service. The rangers decide to look into it. They find his truck, but he isn't there. Where is he? Various things start happening in Black Canyon that can only point to one thing, but it's still not presumed, yes, this is what's happening. So you've got a lot of the mystery put into this. As I say, page turner, I gave that 4.5 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed it. And looking forward to reading the next ones. So that's it, friends. That's my March wrap up. So, as I say, 11 books. Happy with. Sad but 2 DNFs, but that's the way life goes. If you've read any of the books, please let me know down below. It'd be really nice to chat to you about them. If you want me to tell you more about certain books, please chat with me down in the comments. I'm quite happy to share. As I say, there are a couple. One that I was definitely going to be doing, I will be doing a review of, but I'm quite happy to chat about it in the comments. What did you read in March? Did you take part in any of the readathons? Did you do any buddy reads? It would be great to know down in the comments as well. But that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and please come back to see what I've been reading and doing, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.